Hello and welcome to this online arbitrage deals video. So today I'm going to tell you and show you and help you understand how an item's BSR history, how its sales history can help you predict the future of the item. Now, before we go any further, I just want to make this crystal clear that this does not mean that how you think it's going to go based off of the past is the way it's definitely 100% going to go every single time. Of course, as we know, things on Amazon change all the time, and there's no way of actually 100% telling the future unless, of course, we had a time-traveling DeLorean. But basically, we can take a very well-educated guess at an item's future by looking at what is going on currently and what has happened in the past, which is a good way of understanding how well an item is going to perform. So that way we know that it's not only going to perform well now for us, that it's going to continue working well. It's an item that we can keep in stock and keep selling. So as I say, take it with a pinch of salt whenever you try to figure out an item's future, because as I say, there's no way that anyone can 100% know. But as I say, it's better than having no idea at all. And based on the past and how that's gone, it gives us, as I say, it paints a nice picture of what of the most likely thing that will happen for the item in the future. So what we have for every deal in OAD is the sales rank graph and the FBA price graph, but the one that we're going to look at is the top one. So this is the sales rank graph. So this is all about BSR, so that's best seller rank. It's a way of judging how well an item performs in a particular item's category. So the closer you are to one, the better the item is performing. But even if you had an item at, say, number 9,327, and the overall BSR for that category is, say, 100,000, then that is still quite a good BSR, because it is much, much, much further away from 100,000 than it is 1. So what we would do is take a look at this chart. So what we want from this chart is for the lines to be as close to the bottom of the chart as possible, because that means a smaller number, therefore a better BSR. And we want it to have as much movement as possible, because for every piece of movement, that means there's been at least one sell. Could be more than one, but at least once. Lots of movement equals lots of sells. Now, what you can gauge from this is an item's sort of like if there's any trends or any patterns or anything that goes on with the item. So it could be that for the first half of the month, every month it does pretty well, and the second half it drops. Could be that it does well in some months and not in others. It could be that there's been a big old flat period where there's not been much movement whatsoever, there's not been much change in the BSR, then all of a sudden it's gone up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And this tells us that the item wasn't very popular, it wasn't moving very much, and then all of a sudden it's gained traction and built up to become quite popular and sell quite well. So if we look at this chart right here, this is how we can predict this particular item's future. So we can see that there is quite a bit of movement on this line overall, so it is a good seller. We can see that it does have points where it does move up to a not so great BSR, and times when it moves down to a better BSR. And so what would happen if we were to join this listing and we had a spike like this? We can see that most of the spikes are relatively thin, relatively small. So we can be rest assured when we go ahead with this item that if this item was to encounter a spike like that again, it would not be there for very long at all before jumping up to a better BSR. So that is what we can assess from this. So it should continue to move quite well in the future. There's this bit that is only minutely concerning, just because it's a wider gap right here, but obviously there's lots of little movement right here, just the BSR declined at the same time. So that's why I say it's minute, but all the other times we can see that the jolts are much closer together. And even in this period here where I say there's still lots of movement on it, we can see for these little dots right here. So I would say that this item would continue to sell well in the future, and it will no doubt keep moving up and down and up and down and up and down. But the good part is, if it does go up, it will come down again. So that is what we can assess from this BSR chart. So hopefully this has given you a bit of an understanding of what it is that we can read in these charts to then give us an idea about the future. And yeah, happy chart reading. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon.